Welcome, everybody. Hi, my name is Angelique Alexander. This is going to be the last of my fall concerts for the fall season at the Rose Garden. I ended up here in the first place because I was rehearsing in my apartment and they told me that it was grounds for me getting evicted if I continued to practice there. So one of my friends suggested, hey, why don't we go to the Rose Garden? You could practice there. And I tried to practice, and it quickly became a performance, and not so much practice, but still really lovely in its own way. And so that's how I ended up here. I have a special program for you all tonight. This program is going to be focused on Carmen. About half of the program, 5 out of 10 songs, are going to be from Carmen. If you would like translations, Rachel in the back there is helping me out with translations in the yellow sweater. So if you need translations, if you would like to follow along, you can get a copy from her. And then we've got Brian on tech. Thank you so much for being on the back end. And so I hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to start with a little bit of art song. Art song is different from opera in that it's a poem that's been set to music, so it's not actually from an opera, but it's classical music still. And this first piece is called In die Fremde by Robert Schumann. And basically it's about loss. That's what it's about. And for those of you who were able to come to my little concert last week, I said that I just lost my grandfather, and so this song is very poignant for me right now, and I think for a lot of people right now. There's been a lot of losses with this year 2020, and so this song talks about someone coming back home after kind of being, because they describe like a red misty storm cloud. I think of somebody who's been in war coming home and realizing that no one's there to greet him. Hold on one second, sorry. Wait. Okay. When you're outside, right? Okay. Keep that in there. So I think of somebody who's coming home and realizing that no one's there to greet him, and so he says, no one will remember me here. My mother and father have long gone, and no one will remember me.
Und keiner kennt
like that song a lot. It's been a while since I got to do it, but so that's a fun song to start with because it's really beautiful. Not the most upbeat, not the happiest topic, but really beautiful piece. This next piece is, I'm doing this, hold on, let me drink a little water first. Oh, for those of you who are just joining, we've got Rachel going around with programs with translations if anyone wants to follow along. This is going to be a heavily French program. None of the songs are in English, I apologize, but if you'd like to follow along with translations, Rachel's got them over there. Thank you so much, Rachel. So this next piece, if you've been coming to these Rose Garden concerts, I've been doing about one song that is written for a soprano. I'm a mezzo-soprano, I'm a lower voice. But I've been doing one song a week, or per concert that's written for sopranos. And actually today I'll be doing two pieces that are written for sopranos. And so this first piece is from La Bohème. So if you have any background with Rent, then this is the song where Mimi comes in and says, "Light my candle." And Jonathan Larson didn't change any of the names, nothing, the storyline. The only thing that he changed was that at the end, in Rent, Mimi survives, and in La Bohème, unfortunately, Mimi passes away. But she's got consumption, and she's talking about these beautiful little flowers that she makes out of paper. And they're these very delicate, beautiful flowers, and she wishes that they smelled like these flowers. And so this is the perfect setting to be singing this, because she says, I wish that they smelled like that. And, you know, I don't really know why anybody calls me Mimi. My name is Lucia, but I don't know, it's stuck. And I sit in this little room by myself, and I paint my little flowers, but I have big dreams. One day, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to see the sun, and you know what's so special about my little room? The first kiss of spring is mine. The first touch of the sun is mine. And so she, like, gets all caught up in this, and then at the very end, she goes, because she's talking to her neighbor for the first time ever, and this is, like, one of my favorite parts of it. She at the very end of the song, she says, other than that, nothing I can really say about myself. I'm just your neighbor that's come out this time to bother you. Sorry. It is really cute. So I hope you guys like this song, and I also put this on the program because it's my tech man's favorite piece, so put this on. So I hope you guys like this.
vicina che la vien fuori d'ora importunare.
All right. Also, a little secret. My two favorite operas are the very first two that I ever watched. Carmen is my all-time favorite. And as a mezzo-soprano, especially my favorite because that's written for us. And my second favorite is La Boheme, which that piece was from. So that is very near and dear to my heart. And even though I only learned it about 4 weeks ago, I've known it in my heart for a very long time. So I love that piece a lot. So this next piece that I'm about to do, let's see, what piece was that? This next piece that I'm about to do is Von Ewige Liebe, and this piece is also near and dear to my heart because my very good friend Jonathan did the accompaniment for this, and it's one of my favorite Brahms pieces of all time. It's so cool. It goes through 3 different characters. So the first movement of the piece is the narrator setting the scene, kind of like explaining how it's dark outside and they're going from house to house and this young couple walks out of the woods. And from there, it goes into the male's perspective. And the male's perspective at this point is, I always get the sense that he's from a lower class and she's from an upper class, and he's worried that he's going to bring shame to her by their affair with each other. And so he says to her, like, if you're going to suffer from shame from our love, our union, let us be torn apart as quickly as we came together. With rain and wind, let us swiftly become torn apart. And then you hear like this beautiful thunderstorm in the accompaniment that kind of takes place of what it would look like if they do separate. But out of that rough, tumultuous sound comes this calmness. And the third character is the woman in the couple, and she comes along and she says, "It's gonna be fine. We're gonna be great. We're stronger. Our love is stronger than iron. It's stronger than steel. Iron and steel can be forged by man. They can be changed. But our love, who can change our love?" And that's why it's called forever. And then at the very end, she says, "Our love is a forever love." And that's why it's called Forever Love. So, hope you guys like this piece.
Geil,
I really love that piece. It just happens that that's also Jonathan's favorite Brahms piece. So, go figure. We both have the same favorite piece. So this next piece, I refer to it sometimes as my warm-up piece because it's really good for my voice from bottom to top, but it is such a sad story. This is, if you were here in the Rose Garden last week, you heard me talk about Verismo music, really big, grand sounds, orchestration, and this is a perfect example. This is like, this opera, Cavalleria Rusticana, is a perfect example of that big, luscious orchestration, big voices, big sounds. And basically, it's the whole story is in the translation of this piece. That's the summary of the whole opera right there, is that this girl and guy are in love with each other. He goes off to war, and he comes back and finds that the girl is married, so he tries to make her jealous, and so he starts an affair with this like village girl, and this is sung by the village girl who's left alone and is left without anybody. And so she talks about how like she feels like Turidu, which is the character's name, the one that she's in love with, that she feels like he was stolen from her. And so it's a grieving song, and it's about her being left to cope all alone without anything, and she's kind of like tricked into loving this guy. So. Should I sing closer? A little. I think that's a little. Maybe I can turn that a little bit. No. Sorry, that's the girl that does the accompaniments. She always has that cute little music when she starts.
Voi lo sapete o mamma from Cavalleria Rusticana. Enjoy and see you soon on my channel. Bye!
Voi lo sapete, oh mamma, prima d'andare il soldato, Torredo aveva in Lola eterna fede alta, aveva in Lola eterna fede alta.
Thank you. For anyone who's just joined, Rachel has translations in the back there with yellow. So if you'd like to follow along, none of these songs are in English. I apologize. But now we're about to get to what the costume is for. This was a costumed performance. So this next song is the very first song, Carmen's grand entrance into the opera, which is the title role, Carmen. And so this is the first thing that she says when she gets on stage. She's in a cigarette factory, coming out of a cigarette factory. All the men are waiting for her anxiously to come out. They're like, "Where's Carmen?" That's literally what they say before. "Where's Carmen?" And Carmen comes out, and she sees all these admirers, and she goes, "When will I love you? Well, I don't know. Maybe never. Maybe tomorrow. But not today. That's for certain." And then she sings this song. She proceeds to sing this song called the Habanera, which I think most of you will recognize. And in the Habanera, she basically says, "I only love someone if they don't love me. I'm only interested in people who are in, because what's the fun in the chase then if they're interested in you?" So she basically says, "I only love you if you don't love me, and if I love you, beware." This first bit, I'm going to do it without accompaniment, and then we'll go into the accompaniment for the second part. So that way you guys, because I looked all over and nobody has the accompaniment for this part right here. Hold on. Let me get my little pitch.
Quand je vous aimerai, ma foi, je ne sais pas. Peut-être jamais, peut-être demain, mais pas aujourd'hui, c'est certain. L'amour via. L'amore dava de bam, il n'a jamais connu de loi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Si je te me regarde à toi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Mais si je t'aime, si je t'aime, regarde à toi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Mais si je t'aime, si je t'aime, regarde-toi.
So that's one that most people have heard before at some point. I like that one. It's fun. For a while, I really hated that piece, but now I really love it again. So, it goes in and out. Love and hate. Just like Carmen. This next piece is actually meant to be a duet. And we're working on some Don Jose's, but this is meant to be a duet between Don Jose and Carmen. And basically what has happened at the end of the habanera, she throws a rose at Don Jose, and she laughs and she leaves. And then she goes back into the cigarette factory to work. And while she's at work, she gets into a knife fight. And even in the 1800s, it was illegal to get into a knife fight with somebody and carve up their face. So she gets arrested. And so when she gets arrested, she says, well, I'm not going to tell anybody what happened, except for the man I love. And she looks right at Don Jose, and Don Jose is like, whoa, I don't even know who you are, lady. Like, leave me alone. And she's like, no, that rose that I threw at you, it was an enchanted rose. And whether you know it, now you're in love with me. And so she's arrested, and she's basically talking about how she's going to find a new lover and bring him to this place, Lila Spastia, which there's a song that will be taking place at Lila Spastia next after this song. But she talks about going to her friend Lila Spastia and dancing the segadilla and drinking manzanilla with her new lover. And he tells her before this, he says, no talking. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear you. Shut up. And so she's like, okay, you don't want me to talk? I won't talk. And then she's singing this to herself. And then at the, by like the middle of the piece, she goes like, I'm just thinking to myself and just singing to myself. You didn't say that I couldn't do that. You said I couldn't talk, but you didn't say that. And I'm just thinking about a certain officer who loves me and who I could really, really. And, my officer is not a captain. He's not even a lieutenant. He's just a regular corporal, but that's enough for a young gypsy girl like myself. And so then by the end, like, Don Jose is like, Carmen, okay, if I love you, you have to promise that you're going to love me forever. Like, this is going to be real. And Carmen's like, of course. And it's usually staged that at this point they get really raunchy. And so it's lots of fun. So I'm going to be doing this by myself. And should be a fun time anyway. I hope you guys all like this. My name is Angelique Alexander. I'm here at the Rose Garden. This is my last performance for the fall, just so y'all know. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying these because it's been really fun for me to do. So just wanted to shout out to all the people that have come here for I've gotten such lovely emails. Thank you for everybody who's come from the email list. Thank you to the Martinis crowd for coming, showing up. Thank you to the Alley fam for coming and showing up. Thank you guys. So just shout out to everybody. And you, Mom.
Vous me défendez de parler? Je ne parlerai plus. Ridere poi di Sevilla, chez mon ami la Bastia. J'irai danser la zigidi à bord du Mascagni. J'irai chez mon ami la Bastia. Oui, mais tout est si là ce nuit, il est pris se sont donnés. Donc pour me tenir compagnie, j'emmènerai mon amoureux. Mon amoureux, il est au diable. Je l'ai mis à la portée. Ma pauvre cœur très consolable. Mon livre comme il est. J'ai des galas de la douzaine, mais il ne a pas à mon gré. Voici le fin de la semaine. Qui veut m'aimer? Qui veut mon âme? Elle est à prendre. Vous arrivez au bon moment. Je ne garde le col car avec mon nouvel amour, ridera poi di Sevilla, chez mon ami la Bastia. J'irai danser la zigidi à bord du Mascagni. Oui, j'irai chez mon ami la Bastia. Tais-toi, je t'avais dit de ne pas me parler. Je ne te parle pas, je chante pour moi-même, je chante pour moi-même. Et je pense, il n'est pas défendu de penser. Je pense certains officiers, je pense certains officiers qui m'aimaient et comme tout, oui comme tout, je pourrais bien aimer. Mon officier n'est pas un capitaine, pas même lieutenant. Il n'est pas vrai gardien, mais c'est assez pour une bohémienne. Et je digne à me contenter, car moi, je suis comme un livre. Si je cède, si je me livre, ta promesse, tu la tiendras. Ah, si je t'aime, Carmen, Carmen, tu m'aimeras. Oui, nous danserons
piece. It's so much better as a duet. You really can't cut that whole middle section because that's like where all the drama happens. So it's fun. All right. So this next piece, I only learned like 3 weeks ago. Well, I learned it like once upon a time, but relearned it like 3 weeks ago. So I do need a music. I apologize. I have to hold on to my book for that. But this is when Carmen is finally in Act 2. Don Jose does release her at the end of Act 1, and he ends up going to prison for her. And so while he's in prison, she's off doing her Carmen thing, not really caring. And this is the day that he's going to be released. And so when he's going to be released, she's out at her friend the Las Bastia, who she mentions in the previous song, in the Seguidilla, and she's watching her friends dance. And in the beginning, it's got like the world's longest intro, because usually there's a full ballet, and you can't really cut the intro, so you guys will hear the intro. But in the beginning, she's just kind of watching her friends dance, and she's like kind of bored. She's like, same shit, different day kind of thing. Like, whatever. And then by the end of, like, by the middle of the song, she kind of picks up and she's like, ooh, I kind of really want to dance. And by the end of the song, she's like, I gotta dance. So then she starts dancing, and that's usually how it's also staged. And so this is a fun piece, and I hope you guys like it.
Le désastre te tient avec une éclat métallique et sur des dragées musiques, les ingarelles se leva. D'abord les bascules l'ultra et le guitare forciné, crescent domaines obstinés, puis mes chansons. Mes refrains, mes chansons, mes refrains. et se laisser enivrer et voir les tourbillons. I don't know if that choreography was okay or whatever, but I just made it up, so. Not quite the Segadia. Close. Related, but not quite the Segadia. Okay, so we are getting close to the end of this concert. So far I have taken you through 2 acts of Carmen. We are getting into the 3rd act. We are not going to be able to do, I can't do a piece from the 4th act because there's actually no arias in the 4th act. It's all duets. It's all like very spoken kind of dialogue music. But in the 3rd act, at this point, Don Jose has run off with Carmen and they are in the mountains at this point. And things are not going great between them. Carmen, just like she says in the very first piece, she only loves people who don't love her. She gets tired, she gets bored very easily, and so she's bored with Don Jose. And her friends are telling their fortunes. And as they're telling their fortunes, they're getting these great things. Her 2 friends are getting, like, one of them is getting this guy that's young and handsome, and he's gonna bring her, they're gonna love each other and everything. And then the other one is falling in love with a guy she's seeing in the card. She's gonna find a husband, not fall in love, but she's gonna find a husband who's really old and rich, and then he's gonna kick the bucket, and then she's gonna get lots of money. So like they're seeing these great fortunes for themselves, money, love, all this. And then when Carmen comes up, she says, "You know what? Let me take a turn at looking at the cards." She looks at the cards, and she sees death. Death for her and for Don Jose. First her, then him. But always the same. Death. And so Carmen has this very no-nonsense way about her that I love as a character. She's very honest. She's very open from the beginning about how she is in romantic relationships. And she's always her. And so it's really important when she sings this that, it sucks that she's going to die, but she's not scared either. She's not scared because she knows that she will always be herself and she will always be true to herself. And so that's kind of how this piece is played out. And just so you all know, I didn't say this at the beginning, but Carmen was like a complete flop and failure when it was first released in 1875 by George Bizet. This was his life's masterwork, and it failed in Paris because the idea that Carmen could drive Don Jose to such madness was not an accepted idea of the time. And so because of that, it was a complete failure, and less than a year later, after he passed away, it became a smashing success, and now it's one of the most performed operas in the world. So that's in there too.
Que j'y suis au moto
All right, thank you guys. My name is Angelique Alexander. I came out here because I was told that I couldn't rehearse in my apartment, otherwise I would get the boot from my apartment. So this is the last, this is going to be the last one of these for a little while. It's getting a little chilly. So we'll take a break for the winter, and hopefully I'll be able to come back in the summer or spring. We're working on how it can be done. So hopefully this will be continued in the spring or summer. So that's all that we're going to hear from Carmen the character, but we are not done with Carmen the opera. We have one more from Carmen the opera, and I thought that that last song is really heavy and really intense and not very uplifting, and this next song is not really uplifting, but it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and I think you guys will really like it. So even though it's not like the most uplifting song, basically it's from Michaela's perspective. This is written for Michaela. Michaela is the good girl from home that Don Jose was supposed to marry, and then he met Carmen, and then she screwed up the whole rest of everything, right? So Michaela is the girl that he was supposed to marry from home. She's like this really sweet, innocent young girl, and so she is praying to the Lord here. She's going into, this is in the third act still, when they're in the mountains, and she's going into essentially a den of thieves, and she doesn't know if she's even going to make it out alive. She has no idea what's going to happen to her. So she prays to the Lord, please protect me. And I'm going to have to face that woman. Speaking of Carmen, I'm going to have to face that woman. And please give me the strength. Please give me the strength to come here, because she's actually delivering a very important message to Don Jose. She's letting Don Jose know that his mother is dying. So that's why she's come to visit him, is to actually let him know that his mom is passing. And so, just quick summary so you know the rest of the story. What happens is Don Jose leaves with Micaela to go visit his mother, and Carmen kind of throws him out when the Toreador comes in. The Toreador comes by in the mountains to visit her, to visit Carmen, and so she kind of is like, yeah, go, say goodbye, bye, see you later, go to your mommy, bye. And like, so then Don Jose is like, fine, I'm going. So he leaves, he goes to see his mother, and then when he comes back to confront Carmen at the next, like, bullfight, they get into a huge fight, and she's just like, look, I'm sorry, I don't love you anymore. You're either gonna let me go and see my new boyfriend fighting the bull right now, or kill me. One of the two. Let's go. And so then he kind of like, he was very torn with himself, and he kind of like has this internal struggle. I've seen the best productions I've seen, he almost lets her go. He like almost lets her pass him entirely, and then he changes his mind at the last minute and he kills her. So that's why it's a tragedy. Anyway, so this is the song that Micaela sings, though, The Good Girl from Home. And just to get in character and warm up a little, I'm going to put on my coat, because this is something very Micaela-esque to wear. So, I'm going to put this on for this song. So I'm not Carmen right now. Now I'm Micaela. Costume change.
I'm Jackie Gordon, and I approve this.
Oi! Apparently someone approves my message. Okay. All right, we are getting very close to the end of this. This is the last song for the last concert for now. So I hope that you guys have all enjoyed this. This has been really fun for me to do. It's been something that is a really great release for me. I've been going through a lot of hard stuff, and from all the stories I've gotten, there's been a lot of people who have been going through a lot of stuff. So I'm glad that this also can be a nice thing for you all to enjoy. And so this last piece, I'm gonna put back on my gypsy outfit. Hold on. Oh gosh, there we go. Put back on the gypsy outfit. All right, this outfit is way too sexy for this gypsy. Just so you know, this is not that kind of gypsy. So this last piece is also a gypsy aria, and this is from Il Trovatore. And basically what happens is this woman, Azucena, she's the gypsy that I'll be portraying right now. Azucena watches her mother get burned at the stake for being a witch. Pretty traumatic. And so she decides to get vengeance on the count who did it. And so she goes and she steals his child in the middle of this uproar. She steals his child, and she's gonna throw his son into the same flames that her mother is still perishing in. And so she goes and she has this delirious fog of madness. And when she has this mad fog, grief does crazy things. So my dad always says, how is it possible that grief does crazy things to people? So she has this crazy fog, and she throws this child into the flames, and then she looks next to her and she sees the count's son, and she realizes that she's thrown her own son into the flames. And that, yeah, so it's pretty horrific. And this is the first time that she's telling this boy, who's now a grown man, by the way, you're not my kid. I kidnapped you, and I killed my own kid. So she's telling him this all for the first time. And the end of this opera, she's pretty crazy, though, as a character, because at the end of this opera, it knows that the boy that she's raised, Manrico, she knows that he's in love with the same woman as the new count. And she kind of pits them against each other, and then the new count has his own brother executed, and he doesn't realize it's his brother. And at the end of the opera, she's like kind of watching in the background, and she's like, ha, finally my mother is avenged. And that's all she cared about the whole time. Crazy. So she's not the nicest character, but she's fun to play as a role. So let's try this and see how this goes. And I'm gonna have to skip a little bit in here because it's that same girl that did the other accompaniment with the but she does like a whole intro that I don't do. Clicked on the wrong video, of course, of her. Hold on, let's try that again.
Con noi dai scarri, rucola cacciavano le gelarati scarri. A lui il gondro cucendo mi vendica s'amor. Quel dedo in eco interno in questo cor lasciò. Il vio giunse a rapire il conti, lo trascina coi becco, le fiamme ardenti pronti. E distruggeasi in pianto, io mi sentiva il cuore dell'agnello infranto. Quel decco allegri spirdi, come un sogno parvi, la vision virale ti spaventò se larvi, gli schiarri ed il supplizio, la madre smolla in volto, scalza, discenda, il grido, il nodo grido, ascolto, mi vendica. La mano convulsa tendò, stringo la vittima, nel fuoco la traggo, lei sospirò, ci soffottò il delirio, l'origine scena fuggì, la fiamma sui divampa, il suo preda struggì, il fuoco eterno in guarda, innanzi a me veggio, del mio conte il figlio mio bruciato. Mio figlio mio, bruciato. Sul capo mio le chiame, sento drizzarsi ancor, drizzarsi ancor, drizzarsi ancor.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Thank you so much. If you're not on my mailing list and would like to get on my mailing list, I have cards. Also, my email is on the programs if you have a program. And thank you for being here and everything. Thank you so much. So, yeah, thank you. My name is Angelique Alexander, and happy fall, happy Halloween, happy birthday to these guys. And so it's two of my friends' birthdays coming up in the next couple days. So happy birthday to them, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you. All right. Thanks, Mom. What? I know, but I always have to thank my mom. Hey, thanks, Dad, too.
Where's Mom?
What?
Where's Mom?
Where's Mom?
You said thanks, Mom.
Oh, because I always say it for her at the end.